the episode is brought to you by Smith Hair Salon. Go find the new you.
Hello, and welcome to The Word, the World, and Everything in Between.
A podcast for women, by women. We're your hosts,
Liz
and Samantha.
And today we have a guest speaker that I can't even describe, only because we met in the most unusual, weirdest place. We met at PetSmart. Okay. She has this cute little, teacup
Micro teacup
Yorkie, which is super adorable. She bought it on an impulse on the back of something that happened, and another dog that died, passed away real quick and all that. And when we were there, she said to me, I don't know why I came over to you and to talk to you. We prayed in the aisle of PetSmart, and she touched my heart in a way that I want to remain this friendship that I think was godly ordained. We met, 2 days ago?
Yeah,
when was
yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yes.
Okay, yesterday. I feel like I know her for years. I love her energy. I love her personality, the outlook that she has in life. And then today she's here because I told you, okay, bring Lucy. Let me see, if we'll keep her. Let's make sure she gets along with Piper. Everybody knows Piper and all that. So we're working on that. And then she tells me I tell her, you know what? I really like you, whatever. I want to, I don't know, tell me a little bit about your life. Well, you told me yesterday at PetSmart that you were in the armed forces, correct?
That's correct.
And that you had the reason why you got this dog. Now go into the story. Please tell us.
Okay, so where should I start? Should I start from the beginning when I was a little girl?
No. Okay, so
it's all combined. Everything's all together. So I don't know what. Maybe we could. I don't know.
Let's start where the dog in PetSmart. Yeah.
Okay.
Why did you get the dog?
Okay, so I got the puppy because I purchased my very first puppy about 2 weeks ago. I fell in love with the puppy. I'm not an pet person, an animal person, but something about this puppy just really helped me with my anxiety, my stress. I am a 100% disabled veteran, and of course, you guys hear the rumors at the VA, they just pump all these medications to you. I don't want to do all that. Mm-hmm. I don't want to take all this medication. When I got this puppy, I have a friend.
In what branch? Wait, hold on. In what branch did you serve?
I was in the Navy.
Oh,
I was an aviation mechanic.
Oh,
in the Navy.
Whoa. Yes. Okay, don't mess with her.
Very smart. I was an aviation mechanic in the Navy, but I have also a friend that she suffers from PTSD, and she said, you should get a little puppy. I bet you that will help you, and it really, really did. Unfortunately, my baby Chanel was only with me 10 days, and she passed away on this past Friday. Saturday, I told my husband, I need a puppy, and I thought it would make me feel better. And of course, we know that that's not the way it works.
Right.
I paid a lot of money for this puppy, and with money that I didn't have.
Right.
And I was walking around PetSmart just not knowing what I was going to do.
Right.
And I looked at you and I said, I'm going to go up to that lady. I don't do that. And I just started crying, right?
Yes.
So I need someone who... I paid $2,700 for this puppy.
You told me the story.
I need to get this money back. I don't have this money. And I don't know. And that's what happened. That's what happened.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so then today when you're here, you tell me about that you were in the, how many years did you serve?
So I served 4 years active, and then I did 10 years inactive. So a total of 14.
Right.
I joined when I was 17.
Right.
I got out of active duty at 21, but I was still reserve. A week after I got out of the military, I applied to work for the Bureau of Prisons, and because I have veterans preference points, they took me on right away. So I went to work at a maximum penitentiary at Lompoc. Wow. And it says in Lompoc, California, and I'm 21 years old at this time.
Oh my gosh.
But the reason why I joined the service when I was 17 is because when I was a little girl, I was mentally abused very harshly by my mother.
Mm-hmm.
I never felt any love in the home. Mm-hmm. And that is a root. And I say that because this is a root of why my life has been the way it's been.
Right.
I needed to get out of the house
mm-hmm.
when I was 17. She kicked me out of the house. I was on the streets. I was still able to graduate
mm-hmm.
on my own, and I joined the military. She signed me, joined the military.
Right.
8 years later, I'm at a prison.
Wow.
And I'm at a maximum penitentiary. At that time, this is back in 2000,
Mm-hmm.
people didn't think women belonged in
That's
a prison,
crazy.
in a prison system, right?
Right.
You know.
Right. So was it a male?
It was all male.
Oh,
all
wow.
male penitentiary.
Right.
So I was...
Hold on, which I have to spot here, which this is where you met your current husband.
Yeah, so I want to go back to that,
Uh-huh.
okay? So while I was at the prison, I was just having a hard time. And I decided that I was going to leave the prison.
Right.
I had to go explore a different position,
Right.
different job.
Right.
I left the prison.
Right.
You know, inmates are always trying to talk to you.
Right.
You know, they're
And by the way, you're very pretty, so I can see that.
Yeah.
She really is
not
very
too bad
pretty.
for 46.
Yeah. What?
Yeah.
Wow.
So anyway,
Well,
Okay.
so
Mic drop.
I know.
so
You do
I-
definitely don't look 46.
No.
so when I'm in the prison system, all these inmates are trying to. You're 21, okay?
Mhm.
All at a federal penitentiary, they're doing a lot of time. So all these guys are trying to talk to you like whatever. So I leave the prison. Again, all my life, I just was trying to find love in all the wrong places. I didn't know what was wrong with me. Now, when I was in the service, I did experience a rape, and I did experience a bad explosion when I was in Iraq. So I had these things with me
Right.
by the time I got out.
Yes.
So I'm looking for love in all the wrong places.
I wish, you know what, I'm sorry, I wish you would have found Jesus back then.
I wish.
Because honestly, your whole life would have changed. But anyway, go ahead.
So I get out of the prison system.
Mm-hmm.
I go to beauty school,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm still, I don't have the love that I need.
Right.
So I'm falling for all these bad relationships, and then I start using drugs.
Mm.
When I started using, and it was crystal meth,
Mhm.
I started using drugs. My life just started cycling out of control. And people would look at me, how can someone was in this military, was a prison guard,
Right.
and how are you a drug addict now?
Wow.
I
Yeah.
started going to prison. Okay?
So you got arrested.
Yes.
So you went from the armed forces.
from being a federal correction officer to now being in prison. And of course, a lot of things have happened, but we have,
Right, of course.
So
Yeah,
we
yeah,
have
yeah,
a
yeah.
lot, but we
Yeah,
have. So I got my license, my cosmetology license, and I was in and out of prison. I get out of prison and I get this job at a company. Okay, I'm using drugs at this point still, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just always good at everything that I do.
Right. Right.
So they make me a manager. So I'm in charge of the deposits at this time. And one night, my friends are waiting for me outside. And like, you need to hurry up, girl. We're going to go to this party. And I'm like, holy crap, but I have all these deposits. I'm like, let me just throw them in the file cabinet. There was a file cabinet at that time in the back, an old one. And you would just put them in there and you would just deposit them when you can.
Right.
That night, I get pulled over and I go to jail. Okay. I'm like, holy crap, I get a DUI. So I'm sitting in jail. I call my supervisor. I'm like, you know what? I got a DUI. I'm not going to make it to work. She's like, okay, no problem. We'll see what happens. 2 days later, I get called to say, hey, you have court today. I say, I don't have court today for my DUI. I'm going to get out. I'm like, no, you have court. I go to court and they say I'm being charged with embezzlement. Okay, hold on 1 second. So I'm like, listen, listen, I know I'm a drug addict, but I am not no thief.
Right.
They're like, well, where's the money? I said, the money is in the
Drawer.
file
Yeah,
cabinet.
yeah.
Go check. We've checked. It's not there. I'm like, I promise you it's there. Police officers went over there. They couldn't find the deposits. I'm sitting there. I'm like, did I take the money? Did I lose the money?
Yeah.
So I'm like, I didn't take it. My mom's like, you're a thief. I knew you were a thief. And I'm like, I didn't take it. I get sentenced to 16 months in prison for embezzlement. And I'm sitting in prison thinking, I did not take this money. Well, maybe I did. Maybe I did lose it. I get out of prison. I see my supervisor at the dollar store. I go up to her and say, you know what? I want my job back. I didn't take that money. She says, well, I think you need to come to my office. I have something I want to talk to you about. And I said, holy crap, they're going to tell me there's more money missing.
Right.
I go and I go and I'm thinking, I'm going to go. I'm going to go.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. You have.
So I show up and I'm like, I just want to say I want my job back. I didn't take that money. There was a new owner, and he's like, well, we brought you in because I want to tell you we found the money. And I said, come again? I thought, come again.
Yeah.
I said, what do you mean you found the money? We found it. And I said, why didn't you guys get me out of jail? Well, I wasn't the owner back then. I said, I don't give a crap. You guys left me in jail? They said, we found. He's like, well, please, no retaliation. We want to give you your job back. And I was thinking, I need to take these people to court.
Yeah.
But I said, you know what? My reputation was ruined, but God's giving me another chance, right? I didn't do anything about it. And I said,
good for you.
And I said, thank you, God. And I said, you know what? I'm going to prove to these people that I'm the best of the best. But guess what? I still started doing drugs again.
Oh.
I go back to prison.
Right. Oh.
And get out. Then they finally pick me up again, and I go to federal prison. Okay? For 5 years, I go to federal prison, and I'm sitting in federal prison, and I'm thinking, Gabby, what did you do? Why are you here? And I said, God, give me a program right now. Help me change my life. I promise I'll never come back. I get out after 5 years. And you know what I did? I go back to the same company. And I said, I want my job back because I'm good at what I do. And they said, okay, get my job back. And I said, I'm going to run this place one day. I run that place.
Wow.
Not only am I the general manager for all the locations, 9 locations in California, but I also am the general manager for another 4 in Arizona. But back up.
The regional.
I am the general manager. I run, and guess what? The person that reported me, I'm her boss now.
Wow.
But let's go.
Talk about God redeeming and doing things for you and putting you in a place that only He could do it. So, during this time, I'm the general manager. I worked my butt off, guys. I was in a relationship with an alcoholic. I had 2 children with him. He went to prison, and I said, I need to get out of this relationship. My best friend and I joined the military together. Right.
When we were working at the prison, we had a fallout because of her husband at the time.
Right.
We stopped talking for over 16 years. Her father died. I was very close to her dad. So at this time, all these years later, 16, 17 years later, I call her and I said, Veronica, I'm so sorry to hear about your dad. I know we haven't talked in 17 years. And she's like, you know what? It's never too late. We rekindled. That same month, I'm crying to her and I said, I'm in a bad relationship. I need to get out of this relationship.
Right.
And she tells me,
well, because you're already working on yourself.
I'm already working on myself. Yes.
You're already,
yes. I've already been clean. I've been clean for years now.
Oh, okay.
Because now I've been in a relationship with a guy that I met at the halfway house, had 2 children with him. He's in prison.
Oh, okay.
Now, my friend Veronica, let's go back. She joined the military with me, and I also brought her to work to the prison with me. I left, and she stayed.
Oh, okay.
Now, when I was a correctional officer in Lompoc, a lot of inmates would try to talk to you and stuff, right? There was this one particular inmate, very good looking. Mm-hmm. He used to tell me he was going to marry me one day. Mm-hmm. And he used to tell me, you know what? Don't talk to me like that. You're going to get me in trouble. He's like, no, I'm going to marry you one day. And I said, oh, okay, whatever. They all say that, right?
Yeah.
They all say that.
And at that point, you're like, I ain't no Harry's no inmate.
But then he started talking, I'm going to marry. I said, I started looking at him. I said, well, he's kind of cute. Like, I can't do that, right? You can't do that. So I said, but I'm looking at his record and I see that he made a mistake, right? So I asked him one day, I said, well, when do you get out? This is when I'm still working at the prison. And he said, I get out. I only have 18 more to go. And I said, what, 18 more days? He's like, no. I'm like, 18 months? And he's like, no, I got 18 years, but it's going to go very fast. And I said, dude, I'm not waiting for you. I'm sorry. Peace out, right?
Right.
So now forward all these years later, 17 years later, and I'm crying to my friend, and she stayed at the prison, right? So I said, I just wish I would have found a really nice guy, someone that is respectful. And she's like, hey, why don't you look up Azokar? Azokar is, they go by last name. I'm all, Azokar? Remember Azokar? He was so in love with you. For 15 years straight, he would ask for you every day. I said, girl, bye. She's like, let's look him up. Look him up on Facebook. This is during COVID. We have nothing to do. right?
I love this.
So we don't have nothing to do, right? So I look up Azocar and I find him. I said, okay, I found him. I don't see a girl with him in Facebook. I see a little girl. She's like, why don't you just friend request him? She's like, girl, do it. So I friend request him. And within 2 minutes, he says, where are you? I'm coming to get you. I said, oh, he's coming to get me. He's going to kill me. I'm like, what's going on? She's like, no. She's not. He's a good guy. So I'm like, hi, how are you? So long story short, I'm like, what have you been doing? He's like, I've been out. So this inmate this person did 20 years in prison.
Your husband.
My husband.
Not this person. Not this inmate.
No,
your husband.
Well, I'm going to okay. My husband did 20 years in prison. He has a long story as well, but he got 20 years because he sold drugs to an undercover federal agent when he was 17 years old. Okay, so back then it was all. So anyway, I look him up and I said, what have you been doing? So he tells me, I'm a truck driver for Anheuser-Busch in San Diego. I've been with them for this many years. I own a house in El Cajon. I live in Oregon now. And I'm like, holy crap, like, okay.
He's got his life.
So I'm like, what? I'm still living in a little apartment. You did 20 years. What the heck? What happened? What happened, right? So he said, let's meet up. So I said, I need to go to my house in El Cajon and I want you to go take a look at it and stuff and we can catch up and stuff. So I meet him. It's like, oh my God, I see him at the airport. We give each other a hug. He's very handsome, very nice, always been very respectful. We get to the house in El Cajon and he says, okay, this is where we're going to live. This is where your boys are going to sleep. I'm like, calm down. So we're talking. Next thing I know,
he manifested all that.
Yes, he did. Next thing you know, 30 days later, he's putting in a transfer to come back to San Diego. I tell my boss, man, I'm going to have to leave this general manager position. He's, no, you don't. I'm going to let you keep your job. We moved to the house in El Cajon that he purchased. Now, let me tell you, my husband, he owned a property and I said, well, how did you get a property? He's like, well, and this is because I know he's a good person.
Right.
He won. He used to take his little 95-year-old grandma to the casino. He puts $1 in the slot machine and wins $200,000.
That's crazy.
No, this is somebody that gets out of 20 years and doesn't have crap.
Nothing.
So he says, I'm buying a house. I don't care. I'll take the bus to work.
Yeah.
He had 2 months to buy a house, so he wouldn't have to pay tax. He buys his house. So by the time I meet him, he has a house. So we're like, let's get married. And my friend at the time, my friend Veronica, that helped me get out of she says, you know what? I have a house. She's a millionaire now. They have a trucking business, her and her husband. She's like, I want to sell you a house so you can have your own house in case the relationship doesn't work out. So he says, it is going to work out. And what you're going to do is because I had a VA loan approved.
Right.
He said, you're going to buy my house from me. What money I make, I'm going to buy the house from her and we're going to close on 2 properties and we're going to own 2 properties together. Wow. I said, oh, not only is he good looking, he's smart as hell. So this is coming from someone like me, right?
That's God, honey. Yeah. If God is not involved
so I'm like, is this going to work? He's like, oh, it's going to work. I've been studying this. We close on both properties on the same day.
Wow.
I'm in alcohol. Now I'm being a whiner. I'm in alcohol and I'm like, how is this my life? Like, I run the business that put me in prison. Well, not the prison, it's a different
Yes, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
But I finally got out of a bad relationship. This guy manifested he was going to be with me. He already has a home. Because he had the home, I was able to own something myself. So then, so he still had money left over from the house. And he says,
let's buy another house.
Another
property. Unbelievable.
2 years later, we buy a beautiful home here in Fallbrook. So in 3 years, in less than 3 years, we purchased 3 properties.
Wow. Let me tell you something. You know that's the wisdom of God? He has the wisdom of God. And you are you might not know this now, but you're a godly wife that you are submitting and following the way that your husband is leading your home.
So, anyways, I know I missed out on a lot of stuff in my life, but I didn't have an easy life growing up. I've made a lot of bad decisions. But when my story is just crazy
from all that.
It's just crazy. And to think like now, it's like, if I tell people, hey, by the way, I went to prison because I stole from this company, but they found it, but now I run the company.
Right.
And I married the guy that I met when he was an inmate. Now, and
Well,
now,
that's what, when you told me this, because the podcast is not even planned. Well, that's what I'm saying.
my husband is such a good person. My husband said, I was sitting as a young kid in prison and seeing all these people come back. And I used to be like, why are they? If God would give me one chance, I would never come back here, and never. So now my husband just got his master's degree 2 months ago in business with my VA, and he just finished his real estate. So he's taking his real estate test next week. He's amazing.
You own 3 houses. You're a blended family.
We're a blended family.
And what are you doing? You're just supporting him. You're just honestly
I'm
saying,
just supporting
yes, babe, whatever.
So I work full time, and I am a disabled veteran, so I do
Right.
get compensation
Of course.
from them, and I do hair in my garage. Anything that because I believe in my husband's so smart. He is going to retire me, and I know it.
You know,
I know it. And you know what? My husband does not drink. He doesn't smoke cigarettes. He doesn't talk. When I talk crap about people, you know, when you're gossiping, it's like, why are you doing that? That's not nice. I'm like, oh, shut up. Let me gossip. Let me have my moment.
Let me have my
I think
moment.
it's good.
Yeah.
Can you just let me gossip? And I was like, it's just not very nice.
Wow, Gabby, you know how
Okay.
people say from rags to riches?
Literally.
Your story is honestly like from prison to riches. Well, when I met you, I just want to say I just felt a connection. I knew that. And then when you came and how everything just took place, I'm just happy that God has truly, truly worked in your life.
But thanks to him, he's
Natalie.
been a big
Well,
person.
well, that's what we were saying. I don't think he knows that he's been listening to the voice of God. You have submitted unto him, and God has truly changed you guys' life like nobody's business. Honestly, tenfold. He has given you what the enemy, the devil, what he tried to take away from you. He has blessed you, and just talk about coming back to you 100-fold almost, honestly, more than 100-fold. And that is a wonderful thing. That is really, 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 it is. It's beautiful. Gabby, thank you so much for doing this on the spot. And whatever God did for Gabby and her husband, believe me, he could do it for you too. So please don't give up. Look at Gabby's story with her husband individually, and together, how they really made a life for themselves. And if that's not a testimony,
It's brought to you by Renew Glow Aesthetics, where all your skin needs are met.
Thank you so much for tuning in. And remember, if you have any prayer requests, questions, or praise reports, we would love to hear from you. Bye.